But getting back to the whole 4 discs, that's what I was looking at when it came to a gigabyte. And I was like trying to figure out how all this information couldn't be in one disc. And then a few years later, the Blu-ray comes out, and everyone's like, "You got to get a Blu-ray." I'm like, "That's stupid. Why get a Blu-ray? Just make everything fit in one disc. Why you gotta be Blu-ray? You want me to spend $5 on a DVD to $20, 20 this, you know?"
20 this.
Hell no. Hell no. I was so anti. I think I was more anti Blu-ray than I was anti File-Link when it first came out.
Oh, that's pretty anti.
I was very anti.
Dude, I remember when they started just increasing the price of video games. It kept going up and up and up. And it was at the point where it went from like $20 a game all the way up to like 60 or 70. And I was like, I could buy a whole console for this almost. Like it's like that age-old question, like ink and printers, which really more expensive.
But do you know why those prices went up?
Because of the cost of production.
Think about this. How much does a Blu-ray cost? A Blu-ray movie versus a video game nowadays, which they're written on Blu-rays. The price difference is ridiculous. You're looking at a $20 Blu-ray movie to a $60 video game. Why? It's the same exact Blu-ray. And there's no way that you're going to argue with me and say you need all these architect, whatever you want to call it, all these people, all these brains, whatever manpower to create a video game. You're going to tell me that there's more people creating this one video game versus a movie?
Well, I mean, there's a couple different factors to it, I think.
Think about it.
Like, I think because a movie, when it initially gets released, it gets a lot of revenue before it gets actually released to the public and people can buy it for like $20, right? So there's that initial rush to the movie theaters where it makes a lot more money and there's a lot less cost per viewer, right? And then the other thing is there's a lot more support and development after the fact when it comes to a video game versus a movie.
Here's the thing. How much do actors make when they act in a movie?
Hella money.
Yeah. Hell of money. So, yes, they do get some sort of support, but if they don't go big in the
theaters,
they're bankrupt. They're gone. They're done.
Mm-hmm.
So fast. Whoever that company production is, because you're thinking about they get all these sponsors to give them money, but they got to pay so much more money to the actors, the writers, the producers, the person holding the freaking light. Like, there's just so many things that so many people get paid for. So what my thing is why does a Blu-ray movie cost so much less than a Blu-ray video game? Here's my thing, one thing that a lot of people don't think about. If you're listening to this or if you're watching this on YouTube, when you get a chance, research this. Go on eBay. Go on Google. Maybe Amazon. Go to OfferUp. Go to whatever app you have that they have the 5 mile that you could buy from people's garages. Search Nintendo NES video games. Search Nintendo NES video games. If you search for any of the original Super Mario Brothers, Pac-Man, Galaga, like if you look at all those games that are not on a disc, they're on a circuit board, on a cartridge. Those games vary from $10 to $20. Does it make sense if those games are worth anywhere from, and let's even go lowball. Let's go $5. Some of those games, because of how rare they are, they can go really, really high. But let's just say $5, $5 to $10. Does it make sense for a game that came out back in the 80s $5 to $10 to charge a game now $20 or even $30.
Well, you know, I did some very light reading while you were talking, and they're saying a lot of it has to do with inflation. Um, the same video games that we grew up with, if you adjusted for inflation, they just the production alone would cost between $100 to $200 million. But I mean, there wasn't that inflation back then. There wasn't such a specialty. People, I think a lot of people did what they did for fun as well too, instead of, you know, making the money that they make now.
Well, you got to think about it too. Yes, people did it for fun, but this is some back when this stuff came out was very innovative.
Mm-hmm.
There was arcades that existed for a good solid 20, 30 years. But for this arcade to come home, huh?
I miss those arcades.
Yeah. And those, like, dude, back in the 60s, 50s, like you heard people going to the arcades, putting a penny in to play something or a nickel to play something, you know? And it's like when this stuff came out, this was so like the innovation behind this was just unbelievable. So for this stuff to come out and say like, hey, here we go. This is something huge. This is, you could take this arcade to your house and switch games and do whatever you want. And you don't have to pay a quarter or a dime or a nickel or however much it was. Now, when I compare that industry to the movie industry back in those times, and yes, we are talking about inflation, but I'm also comparing something that didn't have inflation back then, and there's definitely some, well, I don't want to say there was no inflation then, because whatever inflation was then, you're comparing that era to another era. So the year 1981 when the NES came out versus 1969, there's definitely some sort of inflation because video games went from a penny to a nickel. That's a hell, dude. That's fivefold is a lot, you know?
Yeah, 500%.
Yeah. So when you go from 81 or 96 or whatever to now, and you're looking at it, dude, a $10 video game, you see video games, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or whatever it is that's out nowadays, they'll have a sale, new PlayStation game for $10. But I could use that same $10 to buy a Nintendo game from back in the day. Now here is the page turner. Here's where you start comparing it. You buy a new movie nowadays, $20, $30, Blu-ray, 3D, whatever it is, 4K. If you look at a movie, the Ghostbusters from 1980 something, Terminator 1, whatever it is from the 80s, the 90s, whatever it is, you go to Best Buy and you find these movies for $1. You see like, or even better, you see that pack. Have you seen those packets? It'll say American Pie, and it'll have all 5 movies or 6 movies or whatever it is. Yeah, and it'll be a special deal for $5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Why is it that I can get like 5 movies for $5, but I could get 1 game for $5? And that depends on its rarity. But when I compare it to movies, Infinity War right now, $20, $30, whatever it is. A video game, $60. Give it a year, that Infinity War movie, now it's $15. That video game, $60 still. And it's just like, why why does that DVD? Because remember, these people, the actors, a lot of these people, well, I guess the actors, once they get paid, they're done. And I guess it's the company that gets the royalty after that. So Disney will continue to get that royalty of all these movies if they continue to sell. I just think it's very interesting how certain things hold its value.
The video game industry is so much bigger than just video games now. So if you start to look at the brand new video games that are out now, and you start to act, if you took all of the cutscenes and you put them all together, it's a legit movie. It's a movie. Mm-hmm. So you have to have a movie budget and a video game budget when you're budgeting to build a video game now.